YouTube. I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC 243. Let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Khalid Taha versus Bruno Silva, and to me, Silva looks like he's just okay everywhere. I think he's got decent striking and jiu-jitsu, but he tends to kind of lose the random fights here and there. I feel like, he just kind of leaves himself wide open to shit, and I feel like Taha is going to be able to take advantage of that. I think on the ground, Silva's probably a little bit better, but I think Taha's takedown defense and his striking is good enough to keep it on the feet and just kind of outstrike him. I don't know if Taha will get a knockout, but I do think he's going to win at least 2 of the 3 rounds. Like I said, maybe a late knockout, but yeah, I'm just leaning towards Taha. I think he's overall the better fighter. Next is Nida Kassim versus Ji Yong Kim, and Kassim is definitely the better striker overall, but I worry about her ground game. Kim is overall just okay. She's primarily just a grappler, but like I said, I don't know how good Kassim really is. I feel like if it's on the ground, Kim's definitely going to have an advantage. We're going to see how good Kassim's takedown defense is in this fight, but until I see her fight off good takedowns against a really good takedown artist, I just don't have a ton of faith in her game overall. So I'm leaning towards Kim just because she does have good takedowns, and I think she will be able to get this to the ground and control the fight and maybe get a submission later in the 3rd round. Next is Megan Anderson versus, I can't say this chick's first name, but it's Dos Santos. This is basically 2 strikers. I think Anderson is definitely the bigger chick, and I think that's going to help her. I don't think either of these girls is super great with wrestling, and because of that, I think it's going to be on the feet the whole time, and I think Anderson, like I said, with her size and length, is just going to kind of take over and beat up Dos Santos. So I'm going with Megan Anderson. I think she's going to get a TKO sooner or later. Next is Jamie, I can't say his last name, versus Brad Riddle. Weird fucking names. To me, Brad is basically just a striker, and he's only fought mediocre people at best. I think Jamie's the better fighter overall. His record's like 13-2 or something like that. He's really solid. He's been finished, I think, one of his losses, but other than that, he's looked really good. I think he's got a good mix of striking and grappling. And overall, I just think Jamie's the better fighter. He's fought the better people, so I'm going with Jamie. I especially think if he gets to the ground, he's going to win by sub, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think Jamie's going to get a first-round takedown and first-round submission. Next is Callum Potter versus Maki Pitolo. And to me, Pitolo, he's pretty well-rounded, but he's been finished a lot. He's got, I think he's like 10-4, 12-4. And both of his losses, the 4, 2 by knockout, 2 by submission. Potter isn't super amazing. He's very experienced and definitely a very good jiu-jitsu guy. I think overall Maki's probably the better striker and overall more well-rounded. But I think if Potter does get this to the ground, his jiu-jitsu is a lot better than Maki's is. This is really tough because I haven't seen either of these guys fight super top-level people. Like Potter did. He made his UFC debut on a really short notice and lost, but he's fighting a really good striker. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Potter slightly just because I feel like if he gets this to the ground, I think he's going to win by sub. But I do think Maki's better overall, so it's really tough. But I'm just leaning slightly towards Potter. I think he's going to get the first-round sub. Next is Jake Matthews versus Rostam Akhman. And Akhman's a good striker, but I think Jake Matthews is just much better overall. I think unless Akhman can catch Jake Matthews early, I think Jake is going to get this to the ground by sub pretty early. And I just see that happening. I think Jake Matthews is the better guy overall. I think even though Ross Akhman's probably the better striker by a little bit, it's not by a huge margin, but vice versa. I think Jake Matthews has an advantage on the ground by a huge margin. So I think Jake's going to get the first-round takedown and win by submission. Next is Justin Tafa versus, I can't say this guy's first name, but it's De Castro. And this is basically just 2 big heavyweights. I think De Castro's 4-0 and Tafa's 3-0. All by knockouts, both sides. To me, I'm leaning slightly towards Justin just because he trains with Mark Hunt, and Mark Hunt says this guy's really good. I haven't seen any of these guys really fight. I know Castro was on the Tuesday Night Contender Series and won a fight to get into the UFC, but other than that, I don't know too much about either of these guys. They're both very early in their career, so it's tough to tell who's the better striker, but I'm just going with Justin because he trains with Mark Hunt, basically, so I think Justin's going to win by first or second round knockout. Next is Luke Jamo versus Diego Lima, and this is tough. I think striking-wise, they're pretty close. I think wrestling-wise, they're pretty close. Overall, jiu-jitsu, Lima's probably got an advantage. I don't know. Diego looked really good in his last fight, but he kind of got caught at the end. I definitely think chin-wise, Jamo's definitely got the tougher chin. Lima's been knocked out a few times. I don't know. It's really tough, but I'm leaning slightly towards Lima. I just think that his technical striking is a little bit better than Jamo's, and his foot movement will help him. I also think that his wrestling is a little bit better too. So if he can get to the second round, like I said, his jiu-jitsu I do think is a lot better. I think Lima might win by submission, but realistically, I think Lima just wins 2 of the 3 rounds and wins a 29-28 decision. Next is Tai Tuivasa versus Sergey. Can't say his last name. To me, Sergey is a decent grappler with some striking, but I just think Tai is much better with his takedown defense and striking. I think they're just trying to give Tai an easy win to get back in the win column, and that's what I see happening. I think Tai is just going to outstrike this guy early and often and just get a knockout in the first 3 minutes of the first round. Next, we got Al Iaquinta versus Dan Hooker. And I just want to say before I predict this fight, this is one of the shittiest cards I've seen the whole year. This is a pay-per-view card, and these are the only 2 fights I really give a shit about. This card is going to make so little money, it's ridiculous. Nobody's going to pay to watch this card. Let's be real. If the main event wasn't what it was, it wouldn't make any money. You know what I mean? Just wanted to say, for pay-per-views, man, come on. Give us just 5 ranked guys for the main card. Jesus Christ. 5 fights with all ranked fighters is what I mean. But yeah, so Al Iaquinta versus Dan Hooker. I think this is going to be a striking fight the whole time. I think Al's definitely the better wrestler, but Hooker's the better jiu-jitsu guy. And Al has been caught in submissions before, so I don't think he's going to risk it. I think he can keep it on the feet if he wants to. He's definitely the much better wrestler. It's kind of tough just because, like I said, I think striking-wise, it's pretty close. It's kind of like Al's a little bit faster, but Hooker's got the length. So it kind of just depends on who's able to do what. They both have good knockout power. I think it's just, can Hooker kind of maintain the distance, or can Al kind of just mix in the takedowns like he does? He fakes the takedowns a lot to set up his striking. If he can do that, then I think he's going to light Hooker up, because I think Al's overall boxing is better than Dan's is. But I think Dan's overall Muay Thai is better than Al's. It's really close, but I'm just leaning slightly towards Al, because I feel like if he needs to get the takedowns to edge out the rounds, he'll do it. And that'll probably help him in the long run in this fight. I do think either of these guys can knock each other out anytime in this fight, just because they both have good power. But, like I said, I don't see that happening. I think Al's going to win 2 of the 3 rounds and win a 29-28 decision. Finally, we got Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya. And to me, I think this fight's going to look a lot like the Gastelum fight, but I think Robert Whittaker is going to finish Adesanya. I think Whittaker is probably the heaviest hitter at middleweight other than Yoel Romero. I think that, technique-wise, these guys are pretty even. I just think Israel's got a speed advantage over pretty much everyone he fights. But vice versa, I think Robert Whittaker has a punching power advantage over everyone he fights other than Yoel. And I think we're going to see, the only thing that worries me is that Robert Whittaker had that surgery, and I have no idea how he's going to look coming back from it. But if he's fighting like how he did against Yoel, I think he's going to catch Adesanya. Because we already saw Gastelum dropped Adesanya twice. It's just Gastelum got gas in the 5th, and Adesanya took over. But that fight was super close. Both guys dropped each other twice going into the 5th. And like I said, I think Robert Whittaker hits harder than Gastelum does. I also think that he's a bit faster. They're pretty similar. I just think Whittaker's overall technique, speed, and power is a little bit better. And because of that, I think he's going to catch him in the 1st or 2nd round. I think it's going to be really close, back and forth. But I think Whittaker just needs to catch him once, like how Gastelum did. And I think he's going to knock him out. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.